Chapter 12. The sad, sad tale of the sorrowing princess with a speck in her heart, and what all happened when she had ended it, which the reader must read for himself if he would know. "Little Baron and dear Lord Bulger," began crystal-eyed damsel, after she had eased her soul of its load of woe by 3 long and deep, deep sighs. "Know that when I'm not the damsel Glowstone, but none other than the royal princess Crystallina herself, that she whose hair I comb should comb mine, that she whom I have served for 10 long years should have served me. And to think, O princess," I burst out joyfully, "that my beloved Bulger should have been the first to discover that she who was seated on the steps of the crystal throne, who was not entitled to the seat, to think that his subtle intellect should have been the first to scent out the wrong that he had been done thee, his keen eye the first to go to the bottom of the truth's well. But, fair princess, I'm bursting with impatience to know how thou thyself didst ever discover the wrong that had been done thee." "That thou shalt speedily know, little Baron," answered Crystallina, "and that thou mayest know all that I know, I'll begin at the very beginning. The day I was born there was a great rejoicing in the land of Mechamenkes, and the people gathered in the front of the royal palace and laughed and cried by turns, so happy were they to think they were to be governed by another princess after Queen Galexa's heart should run down. For many years a bad king had made them very unhappy, and they had hoped and prayed that no more such would come to reign over them. And pretty soon one of them began to tell the others what he thought the little princess would like. She will be the fairest that ever sat upon the crystal throne. Her hands and feet will be like the pearls tipped with coral, her hair whiter than river's foam, and from her beautiful eyes will burst the radiance of her pure soul and her heart. Oh, her heart will be like a little lump of frozen water, so clear and so transparent will it be, so like a bit of purest crystal, bright and flawless as a diamond of the first water. Therefore let her be called Princess Crystallina, or the maid with the crystal heart." Forthwith the cry went up, "Aye, let her be called Crystallina, or the maid with the crystal heart." And Queen Galexa heard the cry of her people, and sent them word that it should be as they wished, that I should be the Princess Crystallina. But ah for me, that I should have lived to tell it. After a few days the nurse came to my royal mother, wringing her hands and pouring down a flood of tears. Throwing herself on her knees, she whispered to the queen, "Royal mistress, bid me die rather than tell thee what I know." "Be ordered to speak," the nurse informed Queen Galexa, that she had been that day for the first time held me up to the light and had discovered there was a speck in my heart. The queen uttered a cry of horror and swooned. When she came to herself, she directed that I should be brought to her and held up to the light so she might see for herself. Alas, too true. There was a speck in my heart, sure enough. I was not worthy of the sweet name which her loving people had bestowed upon me. They would turn from me with horror. They would never consent to have me for their queen, and the truth should become known. They would not be moved by a mother's prayers. They would turn a deaf ear to every one who should be bold enough to advise them to accept a princess with a speck in her heart. when they had thought they were getting one well deserving of the title they had bestowed upon her. Queen Galexa knew that something must be done at once, that it would be time and labor lost to attempt to reason with the disappointed people. So she set to work thinking up some way out of her trouble. Now, it so happened, little Baron, that very day I had come into the world, a babe had been born to Queen Galexa's serving women. And so hastily summoning the woman, she ordered her to bring her babe into the royal bedchamber and leave it there, promising that it should be brought up as my foster sister. But no sooner had the serving woman gone her way rejoicing than the nurse was ordered to change the children in the cradle, and in a few moments Glowstone was wrapped in my richly embroidered blanket, and I swathed up in her plain coverlets. How things went for several years, I know not, but one day, how well I recollect it, my mind was puzzled by hearing Crystallina cry out, "Nay, nay, dear mamma, 'tis not fair, I like it not." Each day, when thou comest to us, thou givest Glowstone 10 kisses, and me but a single one. Then would Queen Galexa smile a sad smile and bestow some bauble upon Crystallina to coax her back to contentment again. And so we went on, Crystallina and I, from one year to another until we were little maids, well grown, and she sat on the throne, and wore royal purple stitched with gold, and I plain white. But still, most of the kisses fell to my share, and I marveled not a little at it, but dared not ask why it was. However, once, when I was alone with Queen Galexa seated on my cushion in the corner, plying my needle and thinking of the sail we were to have on the river that day, suddenly I was startled to see the Queen throw herself on her knees in front of me, and to feel her clasp me in her arms and cover my face and head with her tears and kisses, as she sobbed and moaned, "Oh, my babe, my lost babe, my blessing and my joy, wilt thou never, never, never come back to me? Art gone forever? Must I give thee up? Oh, must I?" "Nay, royal lady," I stammered, in my more than wonder at her words and actions. "Thou art a dream. Awake, and see clearly. I am not Crystallina. I am Glowstone, thy foster child. I'll hie me straight, and bring my royal sister to thee." But she would not let me loose, and for all answer showered more kisses on me, till I was well nigh smothered, so tight she held me pressed against her bosom, while around and over me her long thick tresses fell like a woven mantle. And then she told me all that I have told thee, little Baron, and charged me never to impart it unto any soul in Goggle Land. I don't know, Google Goggle. And I made a solemn promise unto her that I never would. And thou hast kept thy word like a true princess, as thou art, and I cheerily, for I am not of thy world, fair Crystallina. Now that I have told thee the sad tale of the sorrowing princess with the speck in her heart, little Baron, murmured Crystallina, fixing her large and radiant eyes upon me, there is but one thing more for me to do, and it is to let thee look through me, so that thou mayest know exactly what counsel to give. And so saying, the fair princess rose from her seat, and having placed herself in front of me, with a flood of white light falling full upon her back, she lowered her black fan and bade me gaze upon the heavy heart which she had carried about with her all these years, and tell her exactly how large the speck was, and where it lay, and what color it was. I was overjoyed to get an opportunity at last to look through one of Mekanicki's, and my own heart bounded with satisfaction as I looked and looked upon that mysterious little thing. Nay, rather a tiny being living, breathing, palpitating within her breast. Now, slow and measured, as she dwelt in thought upon her sad fate, now beating faster, faster, and as the hope bubbled up in her mind that possibly I might be able to counsel her so wisely that an end would come to all her sorrow. "Well, wise little baron," she murmured anxiously, "what seest thou? Is it very large? In what part is it? Is it black as night, or some color less fatal?" "Take courage, fair princess," said I. "It is very small, and lies just beneath the bow on the left side, nor is it black, but reddish, rather, as if a single drop of blood from the veins of thy far distant ancestors had outlived them these thousands of years, and hardened there to tell whence thy people came." The princess wept tears of joy upon hearing these comforting words. "If it had been black," she whispered, "I would have lain me down in the bed of violets and never risen more, till my people had come to bear me to the grave in a silent burial chamber, unvisited by the river of light." At this sad outbreak, Bulger whined piteously and licked the princess's hand as he looked up at her with his dark eyes radiant with sympathy. She was greatly cheered by this message of comfort, and it moved me too by its heartiness. "List, fair princess," said I gravely, "I own the task is not a light one, but hope for the best. I would that we had more time, but as thou knowest, Queen Galexa's heart will soon run down. Therefore we must act with dispatch as well as wisdom. But first of all must I speak with the Queen and gain her consent to act for thee in this matter." "That I fear me she will never grant," moaned Crystallina. "However, thou art so much wiser than I. Do as best seems to thee." "The next thing to be done, fair princess," I added solemnly, "is to show thy heart boldly and fearlessly to thy people." "Nay, little baron," she exclaimed, rising to her feet, "that may not be. That may not be, for know that our law doth make it treason for one of our people to look through a person of royal blood." "Oh no, oh no, little baron, that may never be." "Stay, sweet princess," I urged in gentlest tones. "Not so fast. Thou dost know now. Thou dost not know what I mean by showing thy heart boldly to thy people. Never fear, I will not break the law of the land, and yet they shall look upon the speck within thy heart, and see how small it is, and hear what I have to say about it, and thou shalt not even be visible to them." "Oh, little baron," murmured Crystallina, "if this may only be, I feel they will forgive me. Thou art so wise, and Thy words carry such strong hope to my poor heavy heart that I almost— Nay, fair princess, I interrupted, hope for the best, no more. I am not wise enough to read the future, and from what I know of thy people, they seem but little different from mine own. Perchance I may be able to sway them toward my views, and make them cry, "Long live Princess Crystallina!" But I can only promise thee to do my best. Betake thee now to the palace, and scorn not for yet a day or so to take up the golden comb and play the damsel Glowstone in all humility. Okay, chapter 13 shall be next. Thank you for listening. Take care.